Hi, I'm Paul Zagman here with Grand Blanc Mitsubishi, showing you the new 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. This is awesome, and PHEV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, that is what this is, and it's first of its kind, because it is four-wheel drive, and you can plug it into a stage 1, 2, or 3 charging station and have unlimited range, literally zero range anxiety, because it has 2 motors and 1 engine, and it can go on gasoline or it can go on electric. So let's tear into this thing. This is going to be an in-depth review on what the vehicle has, what its capabilities are, how the motors function, and options and equipment, what you can get, what you can't get with the vehicle in its whole capacity. So let's take a look at the outside to start, and then we'll take a look at the interior and the engines and everything about the functions of this 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. I'm going to start with the front. Let's get started. Taking a look at the front of the vehicle, you're going to have an option. Now, this is an SEL platform, and it's an S-AWC. S-AWC is going to be a super all-wheel control that Mitsubishi is offering with their high-level all-wheel control systems, meaning that it has one of the most advanced all-wheel drive systems to be able to individually brake one of any of the 4 wheels on the vehicle and be able to add power to the outside, braking on the inside to maneuver and handle corners properly. Now this, I love the lighting, because you do have LED accents that are going to be going as a daytime running light or an indicator light, just making sure that people can see it. Now you have this being the SEL. If we go up to the GT model, we're going to get LED lighting. We're going to get LED fog lights as well as an upgrade from this fog light, and you're going to get a black bezel around that as well. Cool thing is, I really like the Outlander's presence on the front grille. This grille and front is only going to be on the PHEV, so this is going to be made to take in air and cool down the engine that's underneath, and Mitsubishi references the engine as their 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine that's underneath the hood. Now that is, I'm glad we started talking about that a little bit, because that engine can do multiple things. That engine's hooked to a generator that can power the drive battery that's sitting midship in this vehicle. So what does that mean? Well, this vehicle can run either a series or parallel circuit system. That means the engine can just run the generator to power the battery to be able to deliver the energy you need to the electric motors to make the wheels go. Now you have 2 motors. You have an electric motor in the front, and you have an electric motor in the back. So you could run solely on electric power, or you could run the engine to power the drive battery to power the motors. That's called a series. A parallel is going to be when you have the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder powering the front, and then you have the electric motor powering the back. The technology in this vehicle is unmatched and unsurpassed at this point in time. It's awesome. So the takeoff capability, phenomenal, because you get immediate power from an electric motor. So we don't have to wait for it to spool up, and you don't have to wait for it to gain its momentum like a gasoline engine would typically do, or even worse yet, in a diesel. This is definitely the way to get very good takeoff and very good power and very good handling with this setup up front. We'll get into the motor a little bit more. Taking a look at things like, well, the wheels and tires. I know the approach of the vehicle is absolutely beautiful, and I think it's a gorgeous set of wheels that are going to go on the vehicle as well. But it's going to come in all the PHEVs are going to have this 18-inch wheel with a machined outside on it. It's optional to have a black lug nut package with this vehicle too. That's going to come with a locking lug nut. And you're going to see a couple things carry through. Now, I love the color. As far as rally red goes, it's gorgeous, and you have a couple new colors this year, and some of them do have a premium charge as well. So you've got a white diamond color that I think is gorgeous, and then you also have a ruby black pearl that is just, it's awesome because it looks black, and then you get up on it and you get some awesome hues of red into it too. You got the side indicators that are going to be in the mirrors, and a standard option for the PHEV in this, the SEL, is going to be a blind spot awareness. So you got huge safety features that are going to be going into this vehicle, not just being green and sipping on fuel. Taking a look at the outside, you do have your fast key is the way that Mitsubishi is going to name just going in to access the door and simply pushing the button here to lock or unlock as you enter or exit the vehicle. Well, there's other ways to do that too, like this awesome key that they give you with lock, unlock your power liftgate, but also on this side, this is where you have some charging commands to be able to charge the vehicle as well. Well, not only that, I'm going to show you an application shortly that's on my phone to control the vehicle as well. Now, I like the chrome accents that you're going to have along with the vehicle too, and this being a paint-to-match rocker panel, it just ties into the class of the vehicle well. And they did step their game up on what they're doing with more of a luxury level on this vehicle. Man, I'm telling you, it is definitely an awesome way to take a look at it. Let's take a look at some more things on the outside. Like, you would think this is a fuel door. If fuel is energy and electricity, then yes, it's a fuel door. Okay, you have two different charging input options here. This is going to run one charging point, which is going to be your stage 1 or stage 2. Now, this is going to be at the house, and you can run this to be able to charge for a longer period of time, as long as 13 hours, running lower ohms. Or if you're going to run at a higher rate of charging, you could go as short as 4 hours is what we're being told now on the stage 2 option. The other option that you have here, this is going to be for the very quick charge when you go to either a place where you're going to do some carpooling, a park and ride, any kind of major area, and that's cool because you actually have an app that's going to come with the purchase of this vehicle too. That's going to show you where all of those locations are. This one is short as 25 minutes, and you can get up to an 80% charge with the vehicle. That's awesome. Here's some other excellent thinking that Mitsubishi did as well, is it's able to control the climate in the vehicle while charging to make sure that the batteries and the charging itself doesn't overheat the vehicle, so it can actually cool that with a climate control system operated on the vehicle as well. They thought of everything, a lot of it. It's amazing. But here's the coolest thing I think about it. It's four-wheel drive. Who has a four-wheel drive SUV that's a plug-in electric hybrid? Nobody. Them. That's it. Mitsubishi. That's it. So cool. If you like four-wheel drive SUVs and you care about your fuel economy, your average fuel economy that's been seen and stated on this vehicle, when used properly, anywhere from the high 50s to the high 70s. Mitsubishi is claiming if used properly, you can do as high as 156 miles per gallon E. What does that E on the end of MPGE stand for? Well, it's the equivalent. So an equivalent of what is the cost to charge the vehicle and use fuel at the same time, because you can do both with this vehicle, is an estimated 150 plus MPGE if used properly and plugged in on a daily basis. Now, other things that Mitsubishi wants to pay attention to, and I think it's just a good way of business morale and the right way to do things, is when do you charge? When do you charge the vehicle? Do you do it as soon as you get home? Do you plug it in and charge it from there? The beautiful thing about the application they have, you can set it on a timer so you can use it without having to use peak power opportunities too. So while you're sleeping, your vehicle can be charging when typically those around you aren't using as much power as you would right after you get home. So there's definitely good ways to take a look at this in the whole spectrum of it. Let's take a look in the back side of the vehicle too. I love the reflective and reverse lights and the way that they did the lighting on the vehicle, even down on the lower fascia. Yes, you do have an exhaust pipe because you are running a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, so you're going to have that there as well. On the vehicle too, standard for the SEL and standard for this vehicle, the Outlander in general, is going to be your backup camera. Huge backup camera, very easy to see out of too. Other things that you're going to have, cross traffic alert, definitely, and then you have options of having the forward sensing system and the mitigation option of going crash avoidance and be able to do things with your cruise control as well that are able to keep that safety right. Here's the thing that I want to just make sure is cleared up. There's a lot of misinformation that's out with the vehicle now, so let's get that corrected. Under here, that's not where your batteries are. And the reason why we have a 5-passenger configuration here is this is your trunk. In your trunk is going to be where your charging stage 1 equipment will be when you get your new Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. So that is not in the vehicle now because we have it plugged in and ready to go in a different location at the dealership. Underneath this, right here, in this area where you had your third row seat, is where your electric motor is. So it's not where the battery cell is. The battery cell is actually underneath where driver, passenger, and rear passengers are sitting underneath the bottom, so you lose no interior room genius. So nobody wants to be crammed in a vehicle just because there's a battery that's in there. You have an awesome battery that's with this too, and this is going to be a lithium battery cell that is in this vehicle as well. The cool thing about that, fast to recharge. You don't have to charge the whole thing at one time. You can do bits and pieces. That's the nice thing about it. But also, they've done a ton with your safety in that battery too. So any leak detected, it's going to go into a shutdown mode, and hey, it's the only one that can be towed as well, which is different because you don't have to flatbed it or put it on a rollback. Now, we do have a power liftgate on the vehicle as well, and I think the visibility is phenomenal. I got a chance to drive this one too, but you're actually able to really take a look at a whole bunch of different things on the interior. I know we've talked about a few things here. I'm going to touch on a couple things in the back, a couple things in the front, whether you want to be a little bit more interested in the tonneau cover that's going to come in the back of this vehicle too, or how to tilt your second row seating. We're going to go over some of those things now, armrests, interior functions, show you a couple things on the inside. Follow me, let's go take a look. So now we just wanted to touch on a couple things before we go to the inside of the vehicle, and things that'll help you on the inside of the vehicle would be this application. So taking a look, this is an Apple for example, is going to be the Outlander PHEV 2. So you're going to want to look at that at your app store. Once downloaded, the application will look like this. So let's touch that application and it'll introduce you. Drive at Earth Mitsubishi Motors, and what you'll see is this application. It's going to ask you to get onto a Wi-Fi, and it'll give you the sequence of how to make your vehicle visible to your phone. So that's a sequence of locking and unlocking from the remote transmitter 5 times, a total of 10 touches to the button. So what we can do too is you can hit cancel and have an unregistered usage. That's what I'm going to use here to be able to show you what this application can do. This is going to be your home screen. It's going to show you the charging on your vehicle, and it's going to be able to give you an option to set a timer on or off for charging. So when we're talking about peak hours of charging, so peak hours, what they don't want you to use is use electricity during peak hours when people are using it the most in your surrounding area. So what we'll take a look at is setting a climate control setting for your timer or for charging as well. So to go to your timers, charging, and climate control is brought to your next stage over from your home screen. You can take a look at the status of your vehicle. You can see if your lights are on, off, or any doors are ajar. And then you can take a look at where your main power is on the vehicle. You can turn that to on or off. And then you can go over here to the operations of your parking lights and your headlamps. Last one is going to be your settings icon down here below, giving you quite a few more options to take a look at. The beautiful thing about this is it'll show you right up top what you're going to have as far as connection to your vehicle, whether you are connected or not. And you can start your vehicle and charge your vehicle even from work when the vehicle is not plugged in. So that means you can run your generator to charge the battery that's in the vehicle, and that is done by the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that's underneath the hood. Now let's take a look and go back to the interior of the vehicle to make sure we can get all the options inside and outside and the app usage to help. Now let's take a look at some of the interior features. I'm going to start with the back seat because, yeah, well, it's definitely important, especially if you have kids or people that ever plan to ride with you. How are you going to fold your seats and stuff, right? Well, let's take a look at this. I actually really enjoy having an armrest, and you do have one with 2 cup holders here, and it actually is a pretty well contoured seat. Now, is it made for 3 passengers? Yeah, it is. It's definitely made for 3 passengers. I think it's made comfortably for 2 full-size adults back here. Now, I'm 5'8", and I've got all the headroom I could ever need. I'm not worried about that at all. We've got grab handles all the way around, and you've got a ton of airbags, and I actually really enjoy the color of it. It's like a mocha color of like a brown or taupish interior that has the red piping and red stitching in it to definitely give it a sporty feel, but it also ties to the exterior color of that red really well, and it's definitely a brand color for Mitsubishi. Now, taking a look inside too, well, not only do you see the latch systems as well, you have other car seat systems that are kind of tucked away and hidden to be able to use throughout. So you've got them here, and then you've got them in the headliner in the back as well. So if we're going to be using child safety seats or any kind of way to have the children safely secured into the vehicle, well, we can definitely talk about that as well. Now, the seats are able to tilt back and forth, so there's going to be a handle at the top by your headrest that's able to do that. And then you have another little tether that's going to be by your headrest as well. That's going to be able to fold the headrest down. So if you don't have passengers in the back seat, do that for visibility. Other things that you can do too is be able to actually fold the seats forward. Now with that, that'll give us a good flat load floor, and that's impressive for the size of the cell that's in this vehicle. The capability is phenomenal. So taking a look in here, now you've got the room that you needed. You can see the other latch anchor points too for the lower anchor tether for the child harness and using that properly. Now, taking a look at the whole interior, they're going to use black tones. They're going to have some of the brown tones and the gloss black. Well, it looks gloss black, but when you zoom in on it, it's actually a wood grain style with a high metallic resolution. Let's take a look at the front seat, and as we move up to the front, it starts to become a little bit more of what you would expect with the feel of a cockpit or a fuselage of something that's like a rocket ship. There's so many cool buttons in here and so many techie things. I love it because I'm into that. Things that I like to look at is going to be, first of all, how do you feel in the car? Comfort-wise, it's there for sure, without a doubt. The grip on the steering wheel is significantly bigger, so I actually feel like you're gripping the vehicle. That's a luxury vehicle on the interior of it. You really get that feel out of this. So I think that's changed from some of the lesser expensive options that are offered in the Mitsubishi lineup. But when you get into this, you're half the price of most of the competition with twice the capability and unmatched. This, I think, is awesome. I love the shift knob that's going to be in this vehicle too. And just to operate that, I haven't really had anybody show that. So I'm going to start the vehicle, and yep, we're started. You don't hear some big growling engine. So let's take a look at this. First, to be able to engage drive, we would be sliding it over and then shifting it down. That's going to show a D, and then we're going to put it in park, which is simply hitting the button forward of your shifter here. Now, the cool thing is with this vehicle, you also have a B option, and people are like, oh, what's the B for? Well, it's brace yourself a little bit, because that's the braking system on the vehicle, and it's cool because it's a regenerative braking. So the cool thing with that is going to be your paddle shifts. Typically with a paddle shifter, you're going to be able to shift gears in a manual mode. Well, this isn't going to be a manual mode. It's actually going to be regenerative braking, and this is going to be able to have a plus and minus to be able to add more braking ability. What does regenerative braking do? It engages your generator that's in the vehicle next to the engine, and what that does is repowers the drive battery that's underneath the vehicle. Genius, right? Well, here's the cool thing. When you're using it, slightly touch the brakes if you do have a person behind you, because using your regenerative braking doesn't activate your rear tail lights to show that you are braking. So it is braking the vehicle and not at the same time. It's just turning over that generator to be able to generate more power for your battery and recharge your cell. Other things that are going to be in here is going to be whether you're in a save mode or whether you're in a charge mode. So a charge mode is going to be when you're charging the battery, and then when you want to save the battery that you have stored, you can go into a save mode. Excuse me. Electric parking brake that you're going to have here, along with heated seats on a low or a high setting as well. And then it says twin motor 4-wheel drive lock. What does that mean? That means you're using both motors. You're going to use one for the front axles, and then you're going to use one for the rear axle. Then you have an EV mode. Yes, EV mode means you're going to try and optimize the fuel economy as much as you possibly can, and doing so is going to put you into an economy mode and an electric vehicle mode. There's two different ones. The cool thing is, if you get down to where you're running out of drive battery, you've used your electric vehicle mode down to about 30%, it's going to kick on your 4-cylinder engine to be able to charge using your generator. So it'll turn the motor on to use the generator to charge the drive cell. So literally, it's not turning the motor on to turn the axles. You're just turning the motor on to use your generator to charge the battery. It will not let you run out of the cell, the battery. It won't let you run out. If you get to the point where you do get low on it, then you would go into the gasoline engine and be able to use that. That's why Mitsubishi is stating, and they're confirming, there is no range anxiety. You have to worry about plugging your vehicle in for every 50 or 70 miles you drive. No, you don't. You can literally go indefinitely as long as you have fuel, and stopping and charging is recommended for best fuel consumption. So other things to talk about too, power seats on both sides. These things are important. I do like to have the dual climate control. That's going to be standard with this as well. A large touchscreen that's pretty easy to use. Now, taking a look at that too, honestly, it's pretty on point for what is going on with all of the market and what people are expecting. So once this warms up, this is pretty cool. It's pretty advanced. I hooked my phone up to it a bit earlier and just paired a couple things to get moving along with it. But it's gonna put out your high definition radio, your Sirius satellite radio as well. If we take a look at the home button that's on here, we're able to either swipe or use your arrow button to be able to go through some different options. This is your time charging and your charging costs. You can literally input data for how much you've spent to track what your spending is on the vehicle. You can turn your screen off if you're the type of person that doesn't like to have a whole lot of light reflected, and it's good for driving time at night. Just hit your home button to be able to start the vehicle again. Now start the screen again, I apologize. This is going to tell me my range, that my Bluetooth is paired with the vehicle, and my battery life on my phone, along with a clock. So you're going to take a look at even more options, GPS, navigation, our air conditioning system, and the vehicle settings. So you can go through all of this and get any information at any point in time, especially taking a look at things and the energy flows, your energy monitor, your eco information, how the vehicle is working and operating for you. So this is very, very much up to speed and in depth. The thing you're going to expect with this vehicle is a awesome delivery from only certified PHEV Outlander sales consultants from Mitsubishi. That's an in-depth training that needs to happen. So when you get this vehicle, you get the customer service that you're looking for out of it as well. It's a beautiful transition into this vehicle because it's understood and not questioned. So a couple cool things to take a look at inside too. Blind spot awareness system. You're going to have an active liftgate, whether you've got it on or not. And when is the last time you've seen options like a smoker's package? You can still do that in Mitsubishi. I just like the fact that you have the option. You have cup holders that are going to be up front and hidden well and put in the right spots. And inside your center console, I think is beautiful because you have your power outlet in there. You have your USB in there as well. And then you have cord slots so you can actually run your cord from your smartphone out of there as well. Now let's talk about some charging ports. When you go to the GT option in this vehicle, you can get a 1500 watt power inverter. Well, that's the biggest one that I've ever seen. And the next closest competitor that I saw was Ford with 400 watts. We've got 1500 watts that come out of this vehicle. So what can you operate with that? A lot. If your house is out of power, you can literally operate computers, you can operate small refrigeration units, you can run things like stoves. Mitsubishi is boasting about this option to have an onboard generator with your vehicle. That's what it is, it's what it does, it's amazing. So to take a look at this option, what else is close? Well, the closest SUV runs you about $30,000 more than this, and that's in the Volvo lineup. I could save $30,000 or just buy two of these because you get this massive incentive that's going to come in the form of a tax deduction rebate of it's $5,680 US. That's pretty crazy. So to think about it and take a look at this, it's pluginamerica.com. You could check and see what you're going to qualify for in your state just to verify with this vehicle. So not only that, but Mitsubishi's offering incentives on the vehicle. That to me seems crazy. The lease on this thing is unreal. To be able to do something like this, they're leasing as long as 60 months. Whew, mind blown. This is an unreal purchase. It is awesome. Let me tell you about one more thing that I haven't seen on any other videos yet. Specific to this vehicle, because you're optimizing your fuel economy, you're plugging in the vehicle at the right times, actually your fuel release door on this vehicle. So when you go to release your fuel door, it can take as long as 60 seconds. Why? Because it's a pressurized fuel system that's in this vehicle for your gasoline, that if you're actually plugging this in and doing a 20-30 mile commute where you're not using any gasoline or very little of it, very long distances between fill-ups, like potentially indefinitely, huge distances, right? So they have their own vapor release system that's hooked up to your gas tank on this vehicle to be able to relieve the pressure and get it leveled out before it'll release the gas door. That's safety. The other things I like, a knee airbag. Well, this one has one too. You have airbags all the way around on this vehicle, including the passenger seat and the side curtains. Now this is comfortable, it's affordable, it's extremely efficient, and it has a luxury twist that nobody else has. Take a look at the new 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. If you've got questions, give us a call. We're very in-depth and we know what we're talking about on these vehicles. Looking forward to talking to you. If you have any questions, check us out. This is Paul Zagman here at Mitsubishi Grand Blanc in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Take a look at the number and the website. Feel free to check out some of our inventory. And if you'd like to, we are selling these in advance, and there is a bit of a waiting list on some of the particular options. So give us a call. We'll be happy to put you on the list and get yours built for you. Thank you so much. We'll be looking at doing another video here shortly.